everyone. Before I start, like, I know some of you have been here since morning, and before when Anurag sir was actually giving awards, we were having awards in the morning. He said, the female are more there in PR. But I'm very fortunate. I have three men in my panel proving inclusivity exists in all sectors. So before I start, whoever are left, I would really like if everyone gave a good round of applause to all the dear panelists. Okay, so our panel is from bus to bottom line. And before we started with this panel, we had a good ending to our previous panel, which was all about buzz. But before we get into that, because or else it would be all about it, let's talk about how, quantifying business impact of PR strategies. PR is actually known for brand building, for it has long-term effects. But in a fast-paced environment today, things are massively changing. People are looking forward to how they can give immediate results. So before taking more time here, I would actually like to start, Sharjil, if to start with you. When we talk about PR, they talk about impressions, they talk about reach, but how does it actually help the businesses grow? Or how do you bring that tangible growth and show it that in terms of revenue, customer acquisition, investor engagement? How do you put PR in front of them?
Good evening, everyone. When we are talking about engagement or numbers, the number is good till the time in the March you have to show it to your boss. कि भाई मेरा लास्ट ईयर 50 कवरेज आया था, ये बार मेरा 60 कवरेज आ गया, मुझे इंक्रीमेंट दे दो, राइट? बट फाइनली द CEO विल आस्क व्हाट हैज दिस अचीव्ड मी. सो लास्ट टाइम तो मैंने उनको बोल दिया था भाई 2 महीने के लिए ना PR बंद कर दो. Let's see. So especially companies like us or sector like us which are based on trust. So PR play a very important role. And in a crypto, when RBI has banned crypto, when there are government regulation or no, not much regulations are there, the PR play a very important role in the business development per se. So for the 1 year, our company survived only on PR and events. So we make sure that we reach out to the people through events, we talk to them, we get the right kind of a coverage per se, and stop the negative coverage as well, which help and boost Coin DCX, and we became one of the largest, or we say the largest crypto player in India. And especially, I have worked in real estate clients as well. So if you go for a real estate for their sales office, and you can see the coverage is cutting out there in the coffee table book, which helps in the sales indirectly per se. So these are the power of PR, or power of trust which help you to get business done. If you'll say, if I'll run a campaign today and you will get a sales tomorrow, it's difficult. But if you want to build a company and company which lasts long, then definitely PR the way to go.
Lovely. Understanding from Sharjil from a brand side, Anand, I'll come to you from the SaaS point of view. But before that, Harday, if I ask about the impact or the tangible outcome from an agency side, what is your thought on it?
Hello. Yeah. Okay. So, see, PR is what I can say. It's not about generating a buzz. It's more about creating a long-term influence on your, what I can say, stakeholders, investors, your organization, your fraternity, your competitors, etc. So if we'll focus more on what tangible results side. So in PR, it's not a sales-oriented process. We should understand this thing. When we pitch a lot of clients or we have clients on board, they are like, "Itna to kar diya, dhanda aaya nahi." This is what Lalas say to us. But see, we manage PR for a lot of listed companies, and gaining confidence of the investors, or if some IPO is coming, gaining a good eyeballs and good credibility for that IP or that organization. PR is the only major tool which can influence them. Even at this point of time when stock market is falling, no advertisements, no social media influencer focusing on the market, but we are the guys who are circulating positive messages, who are circulating good quarterly results. Maybe FIIs are backing out right now, but PR is the tool, which actually showcases your growth and what business ethics you are following. So at the end of the day, PR, I personally feel this, see, if your PR is strong, you will definitely have good hold on investors. That's what I can say.
Okay. Anand, your take on it from a SaaS point of view, SaaS platform point of view.
Thanks, Rima. Okay, very quickly. I am Anand. I work for a B2B SaaS marketing automation tool called WebEngage. We essentially help brands retain customers that they have spent big bucks acquiring with the Metas and Googles and Facebooks of the world. Work with more than 850 brands across startup ecosystem as well as enterprise ecosystem. So we work with a lot of data and we work with a lot of new age technology and so on and so forth. That about the company. For us, communications and media play a very, very different role. We're trying to create a category that doesn't exist. I've been around with WebEngage for the past 3.5 years, and we've done a lot of work that is trying to create this category in itself. It's called retention marketing. We are all, I'm guessing by show of hands, how many of all have heard of acquisition performance marketing? Correct. Yes. So it's a well-established playbook for performance marketing. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses struggle when it comes to retaining their customers, right? This is where a tool like WebEngage comes into play. And not get into the details of what we offer, etc. But from a comms perspective, there are two ways in how we go about measuring our output. There's the traditional vanity metric, if I may call it, the number of news stories that we got, or the kind of publications, the category of publications that we got, which obviously helps from building the confidence from an investor perspective or from a community perspective and so on and so forth. And also helps you put some sort of a number to the effort that you have put through, right? But there's also a second, more intangible way of measuring this, which is purely from a business impact perspective. And Shajil was right when he said, you take this information to the CEO when he asks you, kitna coverage aaya पिछले quarter, and you give him 60 stories, and that's definitely not going to cut it, because the leadership is not concerned with how many stories you are able to get for me. Clearly, we are all in the places where we are is because we are able to generate those many stories, right? How many of these efforts are actually translating into business impact is the answer that your manager or your CEO is looking for. And I'll give you an example of how we were able to do this. Now, while we are creating this category of retention marketer, we realized the best probable way of starting about is the fact that there's a lot of good work that's happening within the industry which is not getting acknowledged. Can we institutionalize an award for retention marketers? So we started with something similar to what we had earlier today, a retention marketing 30 under 30 with a publication house to bring in that sort of a neutral credibility to the awards. We've done two editions so far. The first edition saw about 90 odd applications. The second edition saw about 550 applications, which was a huge jump from the first edition, right? Now I've gotten 60 winners from here. These 60 winners directly go into my sales funnel, the inverted pyramid as we call it, who are not only my advocates for life because I've awarded them for the great work that they are doing, but they are also the ones who are going to go out and speak positively about me. All the odd 600 applications that we got are essentially also into my sales funnel now, who I can actively start prospecting. I go back to my manager, my CEO, and I tell him, in the last 2 years, we've gotten, PR efforts have gotten 600 direct leads into your business, and that's the impact that we're talking about. So yeah, if that makes sense.
I think at the end of the day, like if I put it all together, it is actually about the credibility when you talk about PR. PR is all about credibility. Now, since we are talking about credibility, but I will, since we have just 15 minutes in our hand, I would quickly want to understand from all three of you that, as a journalist, when I go and meet people or interact with people, they're usually the, CEOs or CMOs that I interact with. And today in the panel also we have the heads of comms or heads of PRs that we have with us. So from you people, I would like to know that, what is the strategy that you have when you bring out CEOs to speak? Some of them are really very well uh, trained would be a wrong word, but very well versed with what to say, what not to say. PR actually goes to them and they're like, you are not supposed to say this. You can't give this out, or you can. Okay, this way you can mold it up. On how do you show that visibility? How do you measure that? Okay, what is the effectiveness of that senior leadership going in the media and talking to them? Where is that gray area where you put out that, okay, this person should go out, and how do you measure that in PR?
Ade, do you want to take this because you work with multiple clients, or maybe Shajil, whenever between the two of them?
CXO effectiveness when we are doing a PR. So I just give I'll give you example of last week itself. My co-founder Sumit Gupta participated in one of the event organized by Money Control. First, he doesn't want to participate because for him it's a, not to say it, waste of time, waste of money, because he has to travel from Dubai to India. But when he participated in it, had given his lecture or addressed the audience, you can say. And after that, because it's a wealth summit, and we received, the moment the wealth summit got over, we are there, a couple of people are there, we got around 40 leads. And I've showed them that we have received 40 leads. And just understand, 40 leads in a wealth management, it's minimum 40 crore of business. So through this way, he understands, okay, we are getting a leads. If not a leads, if one or two also get converted, it's a huge business for a company like us. Company like us in the sense, because wealth management in a crypto, it's a difficult space to sell. So these are the way we generally ask them to go and attend, talk to media. And even for him also, he just called me one day, Sharjil, दैनिक भास्कर में मेरा कुछ आ सकता है क्या? बोला सर क्या हो गया? बोले अरे वी आर प्लानिंग समथिंग इन इंदौर, वहाँ पे दैनिक भास्कर काफ़ी पढ़ा जाता है. एंड आई एम ऑल्सो फ्रॉम दैनिक भास्कर, तो मेरे रिलेटिव्स भी पढ़ेंगे. So this kind of an impact PR or media can give it to you, to your business as well, to their personal branding. And personal branding is nothing, just a sales, one of the best salesmen for you, for any company. Any day I'll prefer Tata compared to any XYZ company, because I know about Tata, I read about it, I see Tata everywhere.
I like the way you have put it. Harjit?
So, my opinion is, if you do PR for any organization, right, starts with brand building, right? But up to a certain extent, I can say brand building is done. Now you are doing a brand management thing. For brand management, it is very important that, the spokesperson or this CXO should come in front and he should take the lead. Let me give an example of one of my clients, Saraf Furniture, right? So for initial 4 years, we are focusing more on creating his brand name, highlighting the products. But it's been a couple of years now, we are focusing more on the spokesperson. So even in our sales pitches, I showcase his name to the prospect client that, see, this is how PR looks after 5 years. 5 years, if you will do PR for 5 years, this will be the result you can see on internet, that your brand is everywhere. You have the recall value, but again, you are the guy, right? And see, in India, people have that psychology that business is going on. The guy who is running the business, see, he has given the example of Tata's, right? We all know that Ratan Tata is the guy. We know JRD Tata. Why? Because they are focusing more on CXOs as well. So, see, at the end of the day, every business house want to, grow. They want to increase their revenues. Be it the spokesperson, the CXO, the CEO, or be it the product or the company. See, their end motive is to get the sales. This is what we have observed in last 1 decade now. And even after COVID, people are focusing more on making themselves as a brand, not their company. Because see, Ashni Grover is one of the best example in that case. We all know what had happened, right? But we'll all know him. So if he'll start any other venture, if he's the investor, that startup will get some credibility because of his name. And judges of Shark Tank is again one of the example, right? My wife buys a lot of product from Sugar, but I never heard about the lady who's behind that. So the Shark Tank is the reason, why Anupam Mittal or these guys have promoters are still there on Shark Tank because they are getting good credibility for their brands. Aman Gupta see their sales are increasing day by day only because people knows okay Aman Gupta's product boat का अच्छा ही होगा. I never used boat earlier, पर अब मुझे कोई boat देगा मेरे को लगेगा अच्छा है. So maybe शायद स्पोक्स पर्सन की इमेज देख के सेल्स बढ़ती है. ब्रांड की इमेज एक लेवल पे खत्म होने के बाद.
Understood. Anand, on on the perspective of both of them, while they're talking about that, how leadership people have a particular personal branding, how personal branding becomes important, and as he mentioned, Tata sir or the Shark Tank team, be it Vinita, be it Aman Gupta, be it Anupam Mittal or Ashneer, but also when it comes at a very wrong image with what we saw on Big Boss, when Salman Khan actually approached, don't you think the businesses actually go on a back end that, okay, and they actually face a lot of backlash, especially when we talk about, social media, or when we talk about, that woke generation that is coming, that why are you not transparent with us? Why are you saying anything? How do you think that on those areas, how can PRs actually come and help those brands build that back?
Oh, that's a googly, but let me try and respond to that. Let me just say I'm lucky my CEO doesn't feel the need to become the next Elon Musk or an Ashneer Grover or Bhavesh Agarwal, so there's no banter involved from that perspective. It's obviously a very, very difficult place to be in when you have to stop the leadership to go out and speak about something. But see, it's a process. You have to start from the fundamentals and work upwards from there. Purely speaking from an events perspective, and I think that's where the conversation started from. How do you measure the effectiveness of your leadership in front of an audience, right? There are a bunch of things that could be relevant from that standpoint. There are two things in specific. One is what is the message that you're trying to convey? Can that message be redone, rethought, and created in a meaningful manner that appeals to your target audience? Can it be cut away from potential sentiment hurting statements? And is the audience that listening to me relevant? So on that note, I'd actually want to call out all the 25 odd people who are sitting through this audience right now. Big thank you for sticking by. It's also important to understand your audience when you're doing this, because only if you're able to get through to them is when it starts to convert into leads or build brands, if I can put it that way. So that's largely about it.
Understood. You touched upon performance marketing. I was actually surprised. I saw two hands, but have people heard about performance marketing? Or you haven't? Because performance marketing is apparently one of the big thing that is actually, bringing clear metrics. And it is actually showing people that, okay, these are the results, which is also very contradictory to how PR works. So, Sharjil, on this note, I would, want to understand from you that when you, actually present or talk about PR, and as we were talking earlier, that, reach impressions and, negative publicity, positive publicity, but when it comes to digital marketing and the ROI metrics, how do you, go to your company heads and talk about what proof do you have, back-end proof that, do you have that, okay, we are doing this and we need to go in a particular manner and you need to allocate that budget to us, because PR also comes at an expense. It also comes with an expertise. It's not easy to do PR. I can say it with, all my faith. It is difficult because when it's organic, it needs a lot of patience. It needs a lot of expertise, understanding, as Anand said, that, you need to know your audience. Even the journalist, if the journalist is not right, even he or she will not go forward with it. So on that note, how do you, present it that, okay, we need this budget for PR? How do you back that up?
Performance marketing versus PR is always being a pet peeve, I'll say. But thanks to Shark Tank, if you guys are watching Shark Tank or following him, whoever invested lots of money in the performance marketing, they are always burning the money. and you hardly burn money in PR. So that's one of my pitch, that in PR you don't burn money, you always get your trust back, you always get the your client feedback.
If it's working.
So it's always better when Rima write an article for my company and it will be well received for my company as well as my client. But if it's a performance marketing, it's on somewhere on Instagram, somebody's clicking and buying. If I'm investing 100 rupees out there and in return I'm getting maybe a 99 rupees or 90 rupees, doesn't make much of a sense. And it's very difficult. How much longer you can do a performance marketing till the time your product is giving you money, but you can't build a brand on the performance marketing. For building a brand, you need PR, you need trust, and the PR is only, I'll say, only communication tool or marketing tool which will help you in building the trust. So again, I'll say, if you are building a company for the long run, if you're building a company which is supposed to be great, then the PR, or I can say 360-degree marketing, comes into place. In earlier time, there used to be a promotion. If you give a discount, definitely your product will be sold. Then it will become a commodity. But if you want to make a brand, you have to go and invest in PR, pay some money, and look out the kind of an outcome you'll get after a year or two. The immediately, if you get a coverage today and you want sales tomorrow, it won't happen. I'll give you another example of my CoinDC itself. We organize an industry event called Unfold. It's mainly for the crypto. There are a couple of other agencies to do that, but in Unfold, thanks we do lots of PR or media engagement as well as influencer engagement. We had approximately 6,000 developers, whereas in the second most event, they receive approximately 300 to 400 developers. So the developer is a very important target audience for us because they are going to build out the technology part. And we also do the conference. People, an international speaker want to be part of our conference compared to the international speaker doesn't come because of performance marketing. They come thanks to our PR because Wall Street Journal and FT has written about it. And we share our clipping with them too.
Understood. So quickly, like I want to understand from all three of you on one aspect that, you know, we the previous session also we spoke about, you know, this cancel culture, social media storm. I do want to get, you know, touch upon it a little bit that, you know, earlier, I think PR is right now more important than anything because of the social media backlash that we get, especially while we were discussing outside also, as woke the youth is, they are also talking about it. If they don't like it, they speak about it. If they like it, they speak about it. If they want to defend them, they also do that. But how important do you think PR has become for not only brands today, but for public figures as well? As we were talking about the Beer Biceps case. It's not only, I think, the Beer Biceps case, it's about the entire latent show. Or when we talk about this Poonam Pandey incident of her shockvertising, which people made out that, okay, she died and then she became alive again. How important do you think it harms the, you know, that public figure's image, and how important is the role of PR now to actually step into it? Like, Hardev, you can stop. Acha, you want to start? Please.
So there is old adage which say बदनाम हुए तो क्या नाम ना होगा. So Poonam Pandey अगर बदनाम भी हो गई, लेकिन what's the objective? Or what we are expecting Poonam Pandey? There is something called shock and awe. Obviously, Poonam Pandey is not going to give us an awe. So there is a shock therapy we receive at the Poonam Pandey post. Even for Ranveer Alapadia, I think the case is little different. The politics are involved in it. If he, after saying apologies or something, he waited for 2 months, I think he has this loyal audience still there. Maybe after 2 months, we will find that his audience or engagement might have increased. I work with lots of influencers. If it's in negativity, if there is a negativity, they get lots of engagement. And that engagement helps them to build or earn money. In positivity, nobody comments. I'm not going to going on a brand on Twitter and say, oh, Bank of Baroda, you did a great work. I received my money in a minute's time. But the moment there is something negative, I'll go and ping it and tag hundreds of influencers too in it. So that's the way even influencer earn money.
Got it. Anand, your quick comments on it?
In the previous panel, which was exactly on this topic, I'm sorry I don't remember, but someone mentioned Budweiser faced a lot of. So Budweiser went out with a campaign which supported transgenders and it got a lot of backlash, lost billions in sales. They are rethinking their strategy now. They'll come back appealing to a more, I'm guessing, a masculine audience or whatever they may choose to do. But from a philosophical standpoint, and this is a personal opinion and a personal stance, I feel as an industry, communications or marketing or business or otherwise, there has to be, and we have to be, lenient enough as an audience also. We have to encourage more and more experiments. Whatever happened with Beer Biceps, it's the age of internet. People will forget. Sure, there's a digital footprint, but people will forget, people will move on. If he continues to do great content, that's what he'll be remembered for and not the statement that he made. That's a thought that I have. I feel if you are able to, all of these instances, they teach you something and they bring you closer to who you are supposed to be, or something on the lines of what will make more money or what will bring you a loyal audience and things like that. So it's okay for these things to happen as far as you learn the important stuff element out of it and grow. Internet will forget. We are all goldfish from that perspective. We can't spend
And
30 seconds
consumer
on
spans are anyway shrinking.
So that's my viewpoint.
Hardik, on this note only, like, do you think how important is it now for not only brands but influencers, public figures, to have PRs as well? How important do you think it is?
When I was studying PR, my professor told me that PR की सबसे खराब बात यह है कि इसको measure नहीं कर सकते. PR एक प्यार की तरह होता है. This is what his words are. You cannot measure it. There is no measurement unit. There is no measurement scale, but you can feel it. And if it goes right, you will be at the top, and if it goes wrong, you will be at the bottom. So what happens with this public figures, or see, we have seen this 12, 15, 18 साल के लोग viral हो जाते हैं. Why they need a PR? Because they know what they are doing, but they don't know how to deal with the public. I have good personal relations with a lot of Olympians, right? They're hardworking jarts, right? But when they go, they win a medal at the Olympics, they don't know what to do now, right? So, be it an influencer or a public figure, they actually need a PR because they are good in their job. Even with good corporates, right? Let's take example of Ratan Tata, right? They are into salt, they are into automobiles, they are into electricity, they are into renewable energy. In every business, right? Now Ratan Tata doesn't know about how you should process a salt, right? But he know how to do his business, right? So we are the PR guys. We know how to manage your image, what should go out, what should not go out, what should be the limitations. So I think everybody who want to deal with the media come in front as as a public figure, they definitely need a PR guy with them.
Understood. And our time was up anyway, I think 3-4 minutes ago. But thank you so much for speaking to us. I hope we got some interesting insights from it. And before we end this, again, if I can please request everyone to give a round of applause for them. And for yourselves too, to survive it through. Thank you.